Gina, unmute your mic.
Always with the sound issues. Okay. Hi, guys. Good to see you. Let's start off with a question for Jason. So something we talked about a lot on the podcast last season is how much Voight clearly cared about Anna, almost kind of like a pseudo daughter. Why do you think that is? And what made her so different from other CIs in Hank's eyes?
Well, this was a long investigation. And so just by the nature of the time spent together, and it's a very intimate, close relationship that depends on a lot of trust. So it just creates a closeness and an intimacy generally. I think also there was a certain moxie and kind of spunk to her and a confidence and a fearlessness that he admired and respected. And, you know, the fact that she was so reckless in the beginning, it naturally made him want to protect her, which I think is, you know, kind of a basic part of who he is. So it triggered that kind of instinct as well. And, you know, it was not an easy job. And his job is to make sure she's okay. And he had to keep a close eye on her. And they became intimately involved. He met her daughter, her son, and, you know, he had to open up to her, which is more than he's done with even his own unit. So it's a relationship that was very deep for him. That's why.
Marina, for you, I'm curious, given the divide there seems to be amongst the unit, and obviously now with Torres coming in, is there any concern amongst the intelligence unit about like Torres falling victim to Hank's ways, or not so much?
No, not yet. Maybe later. I don't think just like in life, you know, when a new person comes into a group, you sort of don't know totally where they fit. That doesn't mean that he doesn't fit. He has a very different voice than all of us, and it's a very different rhythm, and it's great. I don't think we know exactly where he fits. We do know that he's really close to his neighborhood, so that's been utilized a lot. He was sort of a renegade patrolman without a badge in his neighborhood, helping his neighbors with disputes so they wouldn't call in the cops, because it's sort of a cop adverse neighborhood. So it's a very interesting thing now, his relationship to his neighborhood with a badge. He can help more, but will they allow him to help? And that's sort of what we're dealing with now. Hank and him, we haven't gotten to yet. I'm sure we will and explore it. I'm excited.
So Jason, another thing that we've been talking about a lot on the podcast, and we'll see a lot this season, is the Hank and Haley relationship. We're a little curious about this. Can you talk a little bit about how Hank feels towards Haley? Because it does seem sometimes that they kind of lack respect for each other. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't say they lack respect for each other. I think that they're both very strong. And I think Hank, although it irritates him, he admires it and wouldn't want to change it. One of the key things he's always said is that the best thing you can be is you. And if that's difficult for those around you, so be it. So Haley probably is the most, you know, she stands up for who she is and declares herself. I would say probably more than any of the other people in the unit. And so Voight likes that, you know, they're both human beings. You know, she suspects that he blames her for Anna's death. Voight may or may not. I don't think he would admit it to himself because he's illogical enough to know that she did what she had to do and it was the right thing. But he's a human being who also is, you know, somehow was hoping that somehow Anna would survive. So there's that. And then there's also the tension between Haley and Hank because of, you know, the relationship with Halstead, and Halstead, you know, starting to kind of falling off the white horse and getting a little bit darker and following kind of the Hank way of doing things. So it's a balance, but there's love and respect, but there's just difficulty because there's differences.